Detroit isn't just one of Michigan's largest cities, it's one of its most defining. From the assembly lines that changed how the world moves to the sound of Motown that changed how the world feels. This city has a story that runs deep. And right in the heart of it all is a place dedicated to preserving that story, the Detroit Historical Museum. Welcome to Celebrate Michigan, the show produced on the campus of Medina University. I'm Chris Benson, and joining us today is the museum's Chief Exhibitions and Enrichment Officer, Tracy Irwin. Tracy, it is wonderful to have you with us today.
So great to be here.
Excellent. So the Detroit Historical Museum, what prompted them to create this, and what do you know about the history?
You know, I mean, it's a long story. The society, the Detroit Historical Society that I work for, we've been around for 105 years.
Okay.
And we started collecting because some prominent individuals in the city of Detroit felt that it was necessary to start preserving history. And they initially started doing programs. So his programs didn't have a building, was over at the library, and then they started collecting and got their first location. The museum's moved around a little bit, but a little after World War II, the society sort of donated or gifted the entire collection that they had had at that point to the city of Detroit.
Wow.
And the city of Detroit opened the Detroit Historical Museum right on Woodward Avenue on the corner of Woodward and Kirby Streets, right across from the DIA. And so it's been there ever since. We are 75 years old today.
Oh, wonderful.
Maybe not today, this year. And we've been collecting ever since, and our mission is to tell Detroit stories and why they matter.
Oh, cool.
And so our collection does just that. We collect everything from, photography and costumes and hockey sticks and the like. And then, of course, we gather oral histories from people, because it's really the people that matter.
Wonderful. Well, tell us about some of the items that you've brought here today. Since you mentioned the hockey stick and the photography, where would you like to start on this visual tour?
I just brought like a smattering of some of the things that we do. You know, we've got our permanent exhibitions and we have our temporary exhibitions. And these items are from more of our temporary exhibitions. If we want to start with music, we have a Motor City Music exhibit. And we bring in, right now, we've got a small display from the R&B Hall of Fame that's going to be up through July. And this jacket is from that collection. This is Duke Fakir's jacket from the Four Tops.
Oh, how neat.
It's really cool. I always love being able to handle the artifacts and bringing them places. Like, I'm walking around with Duke Fakir's jacket.
A lot of dancing happened in that jacket.
A lot of dancing, yeah, exactly. He passed away, unfortunately, last year. But he was the last surviving member of the Four Tops from the original group.
Oh, wonderful.
So brought that with him. That's just a little example. We've got lots of other costumes. I also brought from the music exhibition down in front here is from the Movement Festival, Detroit Techno sort of developed here. The founders of it, Juan Atkins and Eddie Folks and the like. Kevin Saunderson is a big name. This is from their 10th anniversary, and it's signed by all the performers that year of the festival. And the festival is now over 20 years. I can't think of the exact year, but it brings people from around the world.
Indeed.
Every year. Yes, very enjoyable. Detroit's a big sports town. We have a City of Champions gallery that's dedicated to telling those stories. And the City of Champions actually goes back to the 1935-36 season when Detroit was named the City of Champions.
Oh, wow.
And we have a plaque that's dedicated to, and it's because over 30 individuals, teams and individual sports won their top prize, like whatever it is.
Wow.
Either it's the World Series, the Red Wings won the Stanley Cup, Joe Louis, boxing champion. Like, it was all of the water sports as well.
Oh, wow.
And that's one of those things I don't think a lot of Detroiters really know. It's never happened since, but we're celebrating the Red Wings 100th anniversary this year. We partnered with them to do that. So I brought this fun little wingnut hat, which it's just sort of silly. It's
awesome.
It's something that the fans would have had, going back 30 years, but it was kind of before merchandise was really heavily licensed.
Yes.
So this is an unlicensed piece. And then this hockey stick, which was actually made from a company here in Detroit. This is also a fun story. It's a goalie hockey stick. Roger Crozier is the player. He played from like 1965 to like 68, I believe. And he's one of only 6 players who won the Conn Smythe Trophy, the MVP.
Yeah.
On a team that was a losing team.
Oh, wow.
So it's just sort of a fun story, but the exhibition actually runs through the end of the year, and we have everything. We
cool.
have Steve Yzerman's uniform, we have replicas of all the Stanley Cup trophies, so definitely come and check that out. That's a lot of fun. This photograph is from an exhibit that is upcoming. It actually opens up next week on the 14th of May. This is from a photographer. His name is Norman Zadorian, and he captured mid-century Detroit in documentary-style photography. He worked for Detroit Edison for over 30 years, and his son has really been trying to get his pictures known, and we partnered up, and it's kind of a father-son partnership. His son is an award-winning author. His name is Michael Zadorian, and he wrote all the copy for the exhibition.
Wow.
So that'll be really fun, and that one will be up for a year as well. We put it in our Detroit Artist Showcase because we try to showcase artist work as well. So sometimes photography, sometimes sculpture, things like that. And then down on the floor on the other side is a poster. It's kind of a silly piece, but we have a comic book exhibit up right now. Detroit's comic book heritage is huge, and I didn't even know. I had no idea how amazing it was. We have so many artists and writers and designers that have come out of Detroit. I'm a graduate of CCS. And,
excellent.
And so many of the artists in the exhibition are as well. It's called Heroes vs. Villains, Detroit Comic Book Story. And that particular piece was illustrated by Dave Chow. He's one of the artists featured and also helped us put together the exhibit. And it's just it's advertising a free day that we have on May 30th. And the gentleman illustrated, his name is Matt Greeno. He's a former staff member, so we're doing a free day. He retired, and we're doing a free day in his honor.
Oh, how
so
neat.
that's going to be really fun. And with the Detroit's Comic-Con happening this week, I thought it was timely.
And it takes over the whole town for sure.
It does take over the whole town, absolutely.
Well, unfortunately, we have to take a short break, but when we come back, we'll talk more with Tracy Irwin and learn more about the Detroit Historical Museum and all that it has to offer. Stay tuned.
Have pre-diabetes.
Pre-diabetes? I don't have time to eat right or exercise. I'm a busy mom.
Oh, you're a busy mom.
Yeah.
This is great news. Busy moms never get pre-diabetes.
Wait, what?
Let me just... Yeah, this is all the people at risk for pre-diabetes, and way over here, busy moms. No?
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, read your lease. No pets allowed. My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
Hi, I'm Peter, and there's nothing I love more than sharing vegetables with my friends.
Come on in, help yourself to anything.
That's why we give our food the utmost respect it deserves. Did you know there are simple steps we can all take to help save food? You can cook it, store it, even share it. Just don't waste it. Because when it comes to food, better ate than never. To learn more, visit savethefood.com.
Nice. No. Oops. Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Moms everywhere are finding ways to keep kids active and healthy.
Works every time.
Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov.
Well, welcome back to Celebrate Michigan. I'm Chris Benson, and joining me today is the Detroit Historical Museum's very own Tracy Irwin. In our last segment, we talked about a lot of the items that are here, and they're housed in a physical location. So
Yes.
When we go to the Detroit Historical Museum, just tell me what I can expect when I get there.
Well, you know, it's right in Midtown Detroit and right across from the Detroit Institute of Arts and the Detroit Public Library. The DIA is on the left. Wayne State University is on the right. We're really in the middle of things. And we do also have a museum on Belle Isle. It's a maritime museum called the Dawson Great Lakes Museum. We tell maritime stories there. But so when you park in our museum parking lot and you come in the front door, it's sort of like a choose your own adventure. You can go downstairs to the streets of Old Detroit, which is beloved, and everybody who comes to the museum, you know, for their 4th grade tour.
I remember it. I've been there.
Right? They're like, you know, is the street still here? And I'm like, why would we change the streets?
Yeah,
of course. So,
yeah.
you know, you can go downstairs and visit the streets of Old Detroit, which we do enhance and we give more interpretation. But we try to leave it as pure as possible.
Yeah.
But we'll change out exhibits, like for instance, the comic book exhibit is down there. So you'll see that. We have our auditorium down there. So a lot of programs take place. If you choose to go up the stairs to the first floor, you can start in our Origins exhibition, which is really focused on Detroit's early history, going back, you know, probably 1,000 years.
Oh, wow.
Really before, you know, before colonization, before like, you know, what are the animals that came through here? Why did they come through here? And then the first peoples that came through and, you know, migrated through. And so it's a really wonderful story. That takes you up through the turn of the last century. And then you can go into the Gallery of Culture, which is all, you know, 20th century, sort of a high-level look at things. And of course, our music exhibit. We tell so many stories. Our America's Motor City exhibit is probably the largest in the museum, and we really do a comprehensive overview of, you know, what made us the Motor City.
Oh, well, I know we've got some video, so to give people a visual of what to expect when they come. So we'll take a look at that and see what, there it is. Oh, I love can I just say I love the font? I know that
Isn't it
sounds,
great?
I think it's a great, you know, again, timeless.
Kind of got that Art Deco feel. Yep. And that's the Kirby entrance there.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, that's our Gallery of Culture. So you go through the different decades, and we have a lot of video. We have, you know, the reader rails tell a big story, but, you know, we do tend to swap out artifacts in there pretty frequently.
Oh, wow.
So it's not always exactly the same. And we borrow things as well.
And it keeps you coming back, right?
It does keep you coming back, absolutely. And it's a lot of fun. Like, that's probably the one exhibit that I would say, if you have a half an hour, check out that exhibit.
Oh, wow.
There's our America's Motor City exhibition.
Gotta have that if you're gonna talk about,
You cannot
Detroit.
have it. Yes,
Sure,
absolutely.
sure.
That's the Clark Street Plant body drop.
Oh, neat. Oh, and Hudson, I mean, you know, if people don't know that name,
Right.
they may not be from Detroit. Oh, and the street, I remember
streets
this.
of Old Detroit,
Yeah, excellent.
That's like 1840s all the way up through the turn of the last century. And, you know, you can go into a Sonder shop, you can go into a drugstore and see Verner's, a Kresge dime store. And this is our model train gallery.
Which are very popular. Generations and
popular.
generations of people are just fascinated and enamored with trains. And
Yes.
it's amazing.
Well, we have a modular unit, too, that goes out and does train shows. It's currently at the Henry Ford, and we also have a setup with the Q line for this weekend.
Oh, neat.
It's more of the streets of Old Detroit. No, I'm sorry.
Very colorful.
That's Origins.
And engaging. Just
Yes.
very, you know, again, I see that it's very interactive, and it sounds like it's for people of all ages to come and explore.
You know, we really try to do as much to engage youth as much as the adults that come through. And I hope we do a good job of it.
Tell us about when it's open. Like, is it a 7-day museum? And
we are not open 7 days.
Okay.
We are open Wednesday through Sunday. Wednesday through Saturday, we're open 10 to 5.
Okay.
And on Sundays, we're open 1 to 5. We are starting, actually this month, we're starting extended hours on Thursdays.
Oh, neat.
And we're going to be doing that, and hopefully we'll be doing a lot of programming around America's 250.
Okay.
Because, you know, not only do we have America's 250, but Detroit's 325, the museum is 75, and the Dawson is 65.
Oh,
so we're kind
wow.
of trying to celebrate all of those anniversaries.
Lots to celebrate.
There's a lot going on.
And how do you get these items? Like, where do they come from, like, to the museum?
You know, it's from everywhere. We probably have a lot of outreach. So when I say outreach to us, we probably have about 100 or so artifacts that are added to the collection a month.
A month?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And that, you know, we have to kind of go through those, see if they fit our mission. You know, we don't need another spinning wheel. We don't need another sewing machine. We have many. But we're really looking into neighborhoods and culture and what are the gaps in our collection right now? Because there's always gaps in collection. And, you know, so a lot of times, this stick in particular, we will borrow things, you know, for telling stories.
Yeah.
Because, you know, a lot of times we like to go to local collectors who maybe aren't ready to give us their stuff yet, but they'll let us borrow it, and you know, and able to enhance the story of that, whatever we're telling. But yeah, and that along with oral histories as well. And oral histories is kind of its own collection. So, you know, it's a digital collection within the collection. And then we do also digitize all of our collection. We've digitized about 80,000 things so far.
Oh my gosh, that must have been a massive effort.
It is a massive effort. It's been going on for many years, but we have about 300,000 things in our collection. So we're just starting to get rolling.
Wow.
There's a lot.
So much more to do, right?
Absolutely, and it's a fun job to do.
Yeah. Well, it's time for another break. We will promise you it's going to be a quick one, and we'll be back with Tracy Irwin, so stay tuned.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
They call me Prince like I'm royalty or something. But the places I've lived ain't no palaces. So I don't need grilled salmon or a new scratching post. Just give me a cardboard box and a can of tuna and we're good. You can even change my name. I'm cool being the kitty formerly known as Prince.
Hi, I'm Peter, and there's nothing I love more than sharing vegetables with my friends.
Come on in, help yourself to anything.
That's why we give our food the utmost respect it deserves. Did you know there are simple steps we can all take to help save food? You can cook it, store it, even share it. Just don't waste it. Because when it comes to food, better ate than never. To learn more, visit savethefood.com.
Maria, so how's work?
It was fourth period biology. Our students just weren't getting how easily viruses spread. So Miss Bella and I had them role play a zombie virus outbreak. By the time they had all learned the lesson, all the living were dead. Hey, how's your job going?
That big sales meeting I planned? Next year, I might get to go.
Welcome back to Celebrate Michigan. I'm Chris Benson, and I'm joined by Tracy Irwin, the Chief Exhibitions and Enrichment Officer of the Detroit Historical Museum. I love that title, Enrichment Officer. That feels very rich. I think that's good.
It does.
Yeah,
Just
like
means
there's a lot
I
of
get
layers.
to have my hands in a lot of things.
Yeah, for sure. So in the last section, we were talking about all the different, things that are in the museum, how you acquire those things, and really where they come from. And as you think about that, and you go with the museum, how do you choose the exhibits? How do you choose what to focus on? And I mean, I'm sure that's changed over time. And when you showed us the clip, the technology looks like it changes over time too. So all these changes, how do you manage that and know what people are going to want to come in and see?
Well, I think how we decide what people are going to see has changed a lot too. I think, going back, say, 50 years, it's like this story needs to be told because the educators have deemed it so.
Yes.
And that's not necessarily bad. But now we really reach out to the community. We try to find out, what are the things that are happening now and how is history relevant to these things that are happening now? And that sometimes shifts and changes our exhibition schedule. I always joke with my team that we are nothing if we're not flexible, because what we decide right now, we're going through budgeting. What we decide right now and what we're planning for 6 months down the road, we might need to pivot.
Yeah,
because of anything that's going on. So that's definitely a change in things, and I really love that. We collect oral histories, and a lot of times those oral histories inform the stories that we're telling.
Sure.
But in terms of technology, the technology has totally changed. And it changes, it seems like it changes every other day. When I first started working at the museum, and I have been there for over 20 years, we still had laser discs.
Oh, wow.
And, there was a hologram on the wall that maybe a janitor accidentally wiped off. And now it's, I think we're kind of reverting back almost to more manual. But things are so easy. We don't have to send things out to print. We can do it all in-house. Everything is digital. And when we want to create video, we're just grabbing segments and my team puts it together and we do voiceovers, and it's much more immediate, which is wonderful. Also sometimes a little scary because it's just, now you can do more.
Yes.
and so we do.
I think about the current time, and there's, technology, it's an attention grabber, right? And then you have actual physical items. And so do you find when people come in, I know you've got a nice combination of the two, are they drawn more to the technology piece, or are they no, they're really interested in the items too, or is it kind of a mix?
I hope that they're interested in the items, because the items are the thing that really evokes the emotional connection. This is the jacket that Duke Fakir was wearing. This is the hockey stick that was played with. I guess it's probably 50-50. I think maybe 10 years ago there was a real strong movement in museums in general to push toward more technology. We want holograms. We want everything to be digital so they can come and find whatever they want. And there's a place for that. Absolutely, and it's made things much more accessible, and you can get a ton of content that doesn't always have to be on the walls, because you don't want a book on the walls. But I think there's also kind of a movement back to the hands-on. They want to, at the Dawson Museum, they want to tie knots. They want to look through something and feel, and I think that's really important, especially the youth.
Well, during the commercial break, you were talking to me a bit about a mural project. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I have an art background, and that's kind of how I got into the museum field. And we have been gifted some funding to be able to put a mural on the Dawson Great Lakes Museum, which is on Belle Isle. And it's a great sort of Art Deco building, blue brick. And the wall that's going to have the mural on it is going to be west facing. So right now we've got a call out for submissions.
Oh, great.
And it's open to all artists, not just mural artists. It's open to all artists. And we're looking for them to submit a piece that they'd like to have replicated. So it's going to reflect maritime history, Belle Isle history, Detroit history in general. We're really looking for creativity and something really colorful. And then that mural is actually going to be translated into a large paint by number.
Oh, wow. What a neat idea.
And it connects right back to history, because paint by number came from Detroit. Dan Robbins in 1949 started it.
I didn't know that.
Yes, yeah, and paint by number is huge, And he did it because he really wanted to make art accessible. And so we want this piece to be accessible. So it's going to be a paint by number, and then we're going to invite the community to come and paint it.
Oh, what a great idea.
It's going to be really
fun. Leave your imprint on the city.
Exactly. Who wouldn't want to do that? That's my mural over there.
Yeah, for sure.
So that'll be really fun. Submissions end on June 1st. So if you're interested, if anyone's interested.
Where can they find you? Tell us your website so that we can...
DetroitHistorical.org. And we have a web form on there, and it's called the 2026 Dawson Mural Project. And you can find all of the information about upcoming programs and upcoming exhibitions and things that are going to last not just this year, but for years to come.
And you all have a great website. I mean, it's just delightful to look at, and there's so much there that, you know, you can plan your visit or, you know, just enjoy learning a bit about Detroit's history there.
Thank you for saying that. I'll take that back to the team. They'll be really happy to hear it.
Well, as we wrap up, what do you see for the future of the Detroit Historical Museum?
Oh gosh, you know, there's a lot of things in the works. You know, I think funding is great. You know, right now we're run by a nonprofit.
Yes.
So we're looking at stabilizing that in the future. There'll be more to come on that. But really, you know, expansion and trying to find more ways to tell Detroit stories. There's so many stories to be told. And, you know, every year you can only do so many.
Yeah.
And so, you know, in any way that we can lift up all the stories and the groups that have made, you know, significant change in the city, we want to do that. And
wow.
Yeah.
Welcome. Well, I mean, let me just say thank you so much for helping us preserve all these wonderful stories of a place I call home and love. And so thank you for doing that and all that you do.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been great.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, thank you for watching us, viewers, to help us celebrate all these fantastic things that happen in our great state of Michigan. We love celebrating our history and traditions and culture, and we're glad you're here to do it with us. So we'll see you next time.